Today I'm working with LottieFiles state machines. We are using an interactive animation to show the difference between the chaotic and efficient way of managing digital customer support. So let me quickly show you the animation, then I will explain the concept and how I built everything. So this is like the usual way customer support request comes in. We have different messages from different platforms and they just pop in and it is really chaotic. Managing them is difficult. They are coming in at different times, just falling on each other. But there's a more efficient way of doing things these days, and that is an AI optimized way. And this is the old way. If I click on AI optimized way here, we'll see a better version of managing digital customer support. In this particular instance, the messages, the requests, they are coming in from different platforms, but they are still organized, they are streamlined, and an AI chatbot is processing all of the requests, and it is just bringing everything together under one platform. For people that are, for example, requesting for information on how they can track their order, the AI chatbot can essentially send them the link to the web page link to where they can track their order and send them an help article. This particular AI chatbot is connected to the company CRM, connected to the customer agent support. So can easily manage all of the customer support requests and streamline everything, put it in one platform. So like a customer service manager can essentially see all of the things that is going on across all platforms in a single place. And this is what this particular section of the animation is essentially displaying. A more elegant, a more streamlined way of receiving, managing digital customer support. And this is like a very beautiful way of differentiating between the old way, which is like very chaotic and everything is just falling on themselves, and a better way, more efficient way that will deliver more requests, we help more customers get all of their questions answered in no time at all. And this particular animation is made possible, especially the old way is made possible by the Lottie Creator Physics Simulator. Typically, to animate this kind of chaotic falling that actually follow physics principle and is influenced by gravity will take quite a lot of time and effort. But with the Lottie Creators Physics Simulator, I'm going to be talking about some of my other favorite new features of the Lottie Creator. Well, this is one of them, the physics simulator. You can simulate objects in the real world, like with gravity and everything, with this particular new feature. So let me just take you through how this particular physics simulation was made. So I think that you'll find this rather interesting because I ran into a couple of issues when trying to do this. The first thing is that this particular animation, the old way was like super heavy. Each layer, individual notification layer, was initially a shape layer, combined shape layers of the what's it called, the logos, the text, and everything. And even in After Effects, doing basic opacity animation was like super difficult. It was slowing down my computer like a lot, and I have a quite beefy computer. So the first issue I ran into was that when I tried to use the physics simulation on this particular, what I did was I pre-composed just the notifications. So all of these layers will just be acted on. Everything in this particular pre-composition is what will be acted on by the physics simulation. But like I was saying, the first major issue I ran into was the physics simulator could not really work with the shape layers that I had initially. Even After Effects was struggling a lot. So it's quite a lot of layers, quite a lot of things to work with. So what I thought about was that, let me just show you what the physics simulation looked like. So you click on physics simulator here, and it's going to load the physics simulator. So this is it right here. And you can preview all of your animations. So it's not working well now because I already have it in a state. They are already falling. So it's not how it usually is in the beginning, because I already have this animated, so that is why it's all messed up right now. But typically you wouldn't do this. Maybe I'll just export another version, a clean version, then we'll work with this physics simulator. And I'm going to be doing a video dedicated to the physics simulator. If you want to learn about how to use it, please watch out for that video. But like I was saying, initially, when I tried to use shape layer, the physics simulator will not load like this because it was just too heavy. Like I said, even in After Effects, it was like a whole lot to work with that particular number of layers. So doing even opacity animation was like slowing down my computer like a lot. So what I thought would be a workaround was to use PNG image PNG images instead of individual shape layers for the notifications. It's kind of worked, at least for in After Effects. I was able to do my opacity animation faster. But another problem I ran into was like the physics simulator was not recognizing PNG images. So for my own personal experience, it was only working with shape layers. It was only recognizing shape layers. So that's like another issue I ran into. So a walkthrough I thought of that worked eventually was like to create shape layers for each notification, and then after I did my physics simulation, I now parented each notification to its individual shape layers. Let me just go to After Effects to show you what I'm talking about. So for each notification, let me solo one. For each notification, there's an individual rectangle behind it. So for each notification, I have, for this one, this is the rectangle that is working, that I eventually use for this physics simulation. So that's what I did. For each notification, I created a rectangle behind it. So as you can see, I have rectangles behind all of the all of the notifications. Then if I go back to Lottie Creator, it was now the rectangles that I now used for the physics simulation. Then after I've done the simulation, I have added the keyframes to my timeline. What I now did was now parent each notification that is now PNG. They are now PNGs, parented each notification to its individual rectangle. So that's how I was able to get the notifications, the PNGs, to have physics simulation, so to speak. So that's like, I think, a workaround that many people will find useful. If your shape layers are too heavy and the physics simulator is not working with them, you try to convert them to maybe PNGs or JPEGs. The physics simulator is not going to recognize it. So what you can do is just create a basic shape layer. It can be a rectangle, it can be a circle, anything that is in the shape of whatever object, whatever image you are working with. Use that for the physics simulator, the physics simulation. And then after you've added the keyframes, how it usually works is you determine how you want your physics simulation to be, the direction, everything, and then you preview. After you preview, if you are good with the preview, you can now click on insert. It will now insert keyframes. Let me just show you the keyframes for the physics simulation. So these are the keyframes. This is one of the layers, and these are the keyframes that is working for the physics simulation. So after you've inserted the keyframes for the physics simulation, you can now parent your image to that shape layer, and then you hide the shape layer. So you are going to have essentially the same thing that I have here. Physics simulation of images of maybe PNG or JPEGs, whatever format your layer is that is supported by Lottie Creator. So I think one of my favorite new feature of Lottie Creator is the physics simulator, because like I said, doing this kind of simulation by hand will take a lot of time, will take a lot of messing in the in the graph editor. It just requires a lot of skills, a lot of energy to do it. But with just a couple of key presses in the physics simulator, the plugin, you can now do this very easily, very seamlessly, and it is free. It is totally free. For you to have this kind of thing in After Effects, you have to pay like a pretty good amount of money for this kind of plugin in After Effects. So kudos to the Lottie Creator team, the LottieFiles team, for bringing this to Lottie Creator. So let me just maybe explain some of the things I did. If you notice, let me go back to the main scene. If you notice, all of my simulations are not going beyond this point. And that is one of the reasons why I created a pre-composition for the objects that I'll be using in the physics simulator. And if you notice, there's like a very thin green line here. So that is my base. I have an invisible, let me just go back here and then scroll all the way down. So I have a floor layer here. It's just a rectangle, a shape layer, a rectangle shape layer that is here. So this is like the boundary for all of my objects that will be influenced by the physics simulator. So what I did to make sure this object does not come below this particular layer is to click on, find that particular layer in the physics simulator, just find it, and then you click on this what's it called, this padlock icon here. So you can either make it dynamic, but what I've done is I made it static. So if you hover it, it's going to say make static. So that is it. I've made it static. So nothing will go through this and it is not going to move. It's going to essentially act as a floor for all of the layers that are above it. So that's how I made my notifications not fall on the buttons that I've created, the button and the title of the animation. So that's how I've done that for the physics simulation. If I play this, you notice the floor is there. The objects are acting on the floor and they are not going beyond the floor, but the floor is not visible. So after locking it in the physics simulator, what I did was, and I went back to this pre-composition and then I hid that particular layer from view. So if I click on it, so I did not turn it off. I did not turn off the visibility. What I did rather was to decrease the fill opacity to 0. So it is still there. It is still there, but it is not visible because the fill opacity is now 0. It is not going to show in the whole composition. In the composition, it's not going to be in view. So that's that about it. Like I said, I'm going to do a dedicated video for the physics simulator. If you're interested in that, please watch out for that. So that's like my first favorite new feature of the Lottie Creator app. I think another favorite new feature of mine is this shy button here. Like it's like super helpful. Working with a lot of layers can be very daunting, especially when I have like up to 50 layers. I'm just saying now, I'm not sure what the total number is in this particular composition. And in this case, for example, if I want to maybe do an animation for my images and not work with what's it called, the shape layers that I've created for them, I can easily just shy all of my shape layers. I can use the shy button to shy some of my layers so I can have only the one that I want to work with. So how do you activate the shy? You just find all of the layers you want to shy. This is the button here, turn off in timeline. Turn off in timeline. I'm going to do that for a couple of the shape layer rectangles. And then if you want to shy everything that you've turned off in timeline, just click on the shy button here and it's going to hide all of them in view. So that's like super helpful when you are working with a lot of layers. So I think my third favorite new feature of the Lottie Creator is going to be, let me just show you that in state machines. Okay, I need to go to the main scene, then click on state machines. So my third favorite feature is that when you are creating interactions now, you can now work with layers in pre-compositions. So initially, for you to get layers in pre-compositions to show up, you'd really need to break your scene. Like for example, now I'll need to break this particular scene. This is a pre-composition, but in Lottie Creator, it is called a scene. So initially, if I wanted to use any of these rectangles that I created here for interaction in state machines, I would need to like break this particular scene. And it usually takes a lot. Sometimes it doesn't work well. But with the new updates to Lottie Creator, you can now directly access that in the state machines tab by just going to interactions, clicking on layer name, and then you are going to see the pre-composition here. When you click on it, it's going to show up all of the layers that are in that particular pre-composition, and then you can now use that for interaction. So that's like my third new feature for Lottie Creator. And I think another feature that I found helpful, very, very useful in recent times is this new feature where you can now create segments in, you can now create new segments in After Effects. Sorry, you use markers to create guides in After Effects, not guides per se. You create markers in After Effects, and then when you export that particular composition, that particular animation, when you export it to Lottie Creator, it automatically becomes segment. So for example, let's just create another. Let me create another marker here. So you just have to click on the marker icon here, drag and drop it somewhere. I'm going to drag it here. Then click on Alt, and then you split that particular marker into two. Now it has a beginning and an end point for that particular marker. I'm going to name it. I want to rename it. Go to settings. I'm going to name this example segment. Example segments. So that is our new segment. In After Effects, it is called a marker. So we are doing, this is a composition marker. But now you can now create composition markers in After Effects, and once you export that particular animation composition into Lottie Creator, it automatically becomes a segment, saving you double work of the old way where you have to animate in After Effects and then you now go to the Lottie Creator to go and create your segments. I think this is like very, very useful. I've had instances in the past where I've done all of my animations in After Effects, and then I forget the timing of my segments in Lottie Creator. Then I have to spend quite a number of time figuring it out again. So now I can now create everything, the segments in After Effects, and it's going to work very well in Lottie Creator. I think another favorite feature of my, like, Lottie Creator has been getting quite a lot of updates that are very, very useful these days. It's like using the LottieFiles plugin, you can now open animations directly in Lottie Creator. So initially what you do is export the animation in JSON with body moving, and then you import that into Lottie Creator. But now once you render your animation, you are going to see all of your compositions here. Just click on one that you want to render, click on render. It's going to render. So it has finished rendering. The next thing I need to do is just click on open in Lottie Creator. And it's going to open its inserting assets. So voila, and we already have the animations in Lottie Creator in in just a couple of seconds. So the next thing I want to show you is the segment we created. It is now here. This is what we created as a marker, a composition marker in what's it called, in After Effects, and it has automatically been transformed into a Lottie Creator segment. And I can now even work with this segment in LottieFiles state machines. So if I go to state machines, the segment is already here. So we had three composition markers in After Effects. We have old way, we have AI-optimized, and we have example segments. Then if you check our Lottie Creator state machines, we also have the three segments in Lottie Creator. We have old way, we have AI-optimized, and we have example segment. So that's like a very, very beautiful feature. So like I said, that's just about this particular animation and some of the things I did to make it work. The state machines for this animation itself is like very, very simple, very straightforward. It's just two inputs, events, and then let me just play this. So I have each part of the animation on loop. what I did was, let me just recreate them. So I just brought in the first segment. This is the old file I was working with. In case you are wondering why we don't have the example segments here, this is the new one with the example segments, but this is the old one without the example segments. Then I created two events, old way and AI way. Then I connected the old way to the AI way using the event AI way. Just going to click on the transition, click on add condition, AI way. So let's test that out. So this is happening. I'm going to trigger the event by clicking on it here, and it moves into the AI way. So to move from the AI optimized way to the old way, you can equally just add a transition from the AI optimized to the old way. Click on the transition and use the condition, the event old way. So let's try that out. So this is the old way. If I trigger the event AI way, it moves to AI way. And if I trigger the event old way, it moves to the old way. So that's that. Then I add interactions to these buttons, old way and AI way. All you have to do is just click on the add button. I did a click interaction, and I used the layer old way button. So this is old way button. Then for the other one, we have the AI optimized way button. So that's just the interaction. If I click on this, you can see it fires the event. These interactions, click on the old way button, fires the event old way. Then for the AI optimized way, it's still a click interaction. The layer name is AI optimized way button, and it fires the event AI way. So that's just how the interaction for this particular interactive animation works. I can just click on, instead of triggering the events from the input section, I can click on the buttons themselves to switch between the old way of managing digital customer support and the AI optimized, the more efficient way. So I think I need to turn up the loop here. So loop the two sections so it doesn't stop. Once you reach the ends of this particular segment, it begins again. So that's that for this video. Like I said, I'll be making a dedicated video for the physics simulator, the Lottie Creator Physics Simulator. If that is something that interests you, please watch out. Follow me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel. The video will be coming up soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.